Hello and welcome to the Performance Physique podcast. My name is Arj and I am your head coach. This podcast is all about helping you with your running, your nutrition and your training. We take the jargon out of sports science to help you realise your goals faster than ever before. Let's get started.
I have seriously
London's Eye.
Oh, it's one of my favourite parts of the show, honestly, because it's called London's Eye, and every Thursday between 3 and 4 here in Radio London in the afternoons, I'm joined in the studio with two Londoners. We discuss the stories that matter to them, really what's got them talking, and I always like for you to weigh in, so please do. It's shay@bbc.co.uk on email, and it's a big welcome back to the fantastic Kaz Fonsette. She's a friend of the station, founder of Wigs for Heroes, and our resident London Marathon expert in the afternoons. He's also head coach at Performance Physique, Arj Thiruchelvam. Great to have you both here.
Hi. Thanks for having us.
I'm going to come to you first, Arj. I know you were here earlier on in the week, and London Marathon, we've only got a couple of weeks away, mate. Is there a lot of tension? How's it feeling with all of the, athletes, runners that you're training right now?
Yeah, they call it maranoia.
Maranoia?
Oh, yes, marathon paranoia. It's a real thing. It's gone really, really well. I tell you what, following that first episode of the series, inundated with questions.
Yeah, no surprises.
We had a lot of questions because build-up is really, really starting for the taper, the closing phase of training. So things are going well for my athletes, and we've got some exciting stuff to talk about on Monday's show as well when we do it. But yeah, fingers crossed, we're in for a great marathon.
Okay, sorry, I just need some more. Have you heard of this? Maranoia, have you heard of this?
No,
Kaz?
but someone's running the marathon for my charity.
Really?
Yeah, and
Fantastic.
it's the first ever person running the London Marathon for us, and we obviously didn't get the space.
This is wonderful.
But he did, and he's running it for us, and I'm
That's
like,
amazing.
Yay. Yeah, it's amazing.
How did that
but
make
I've
you
never heard
feel?
of I'm just like, wow, all of your energy, your training every single day, you're thinking about us as well on top of that,
about
and
Wigs for
raising
Heroes.
money, and raising money for a charity that hasn't directly impacted him, but he's seen the impact we're making on people that he might know, or just anyone around, and I'm just so proud to have been chosen as
Absolutely.
his charity. So yeah, it's incredible. Maranoia.
Maranoia. I'm coming to it, I promise. But, there's been this whole debate around the London Marathon being 2 days, right? And you've just said, Kaz, that you didn't get it in terms of London Marathon, but then, this individual is running for the charity. And there really are an array of charities across the country. They are perhaps small charities, local charities in different parts of London, different, cities that also are in a similar kind of predicament where they kind of miss out to London Marathon.
Yeah.
So I just wonder what your take is on the London Marathon being 2 days, because essentially it just means more fundraising. It means more opportunity, to highlight charities like Wigs for Heroes.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunately the small people like us in the charity world, we don't really get much opportunities to get spaces, and it's sad. I'm just like, what can we do in future to encourage more people to be part of this, also to encourage people to support smaller charities as well.
So
because,
with that then, should the London Marathon be a 2-day event?
I do think so, although some people who live around the area might be like, oh god, all the roads are closed. Me included. Sometimes it's like, oh, an emergency, because my mother-in-law lives on the other side of London, and getting to her house, you either have to leave at a certain time and whatever. But I think now, though, being on the other side of it, where we need the money as a charity, I of course am going to encourage it, and if it happens, it happens. I'm not going to say no. Just plan your weekend to do something else, right?
It's for the greater good.
It is for the greater good, and the amount of goodness that's going to come out of it for so many people, and also a sense of achievement when you run a marathon. That's so big for some people who have had health conditions, who have overcome obstacles in their lives and want to do this amazing thing. Such a sense of achievement, and we shouldn't knock that down, I think.
Okay, the wider aspect, of course, is it's the greatest marathon in the world. Why wouldn't you want it for over 2 days? Why wouldn't you want more of it?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know about you.
What do you think, Arj?
I'm still on this fence. I'm still on this fence because it's the prestige of. I'm one of 55,000 people that managed to get into the marathon. And
hold on, if it was 100,000 people, that's not like that's still a small number comparatively to the millions that really want to take part.
I know. I just get caught up in not changing something so traditional, and then I look at the other side of it's 130 million pounds worth of charity donations, they reckon. Incredible. And it's just like,
well, that could double.
Well,
if not triple.
Yeah, it's just like, why would I be so stupid about the history of an event? So I'm really stuck.
No. Look, don't be so negative on it, because the history of the event is vitally important. As Londoners, sometimes we don't really acknowledge or celebrate, I should say, the nostalgia, the history, and the contribution that's given to wider society. But hands down. Yeah. So yes, you are right. There is something to be said around holding on to the way we've done things. However,
it's like, let it go.
It's London Marathon. Just say
lose a little.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. I said, I'm that person I said I wouldn't become.
You're still on the fence then,
Yeah,
Arj?
I still am.
Oh God.
Man.
0800 731 2000 is the number to give us a call. If we are weeks away from London Marathon. Marathonia, is that what it's called? Maranoia, London Paranoia. Like, what London Marathon Paranoia? What does that mean?
It's effectively the fear of this upcoming challenge that you're about to face.
Yeah,
and it's a well-known issue heading into any marathon. That a few weeks out, am I really prepared for this? Have I actually done all the training that I should have done?
Yeah.
And therefore, stepping on that start line is a bit of a fear. And we talked through it effectively, how to manage those nerves on the big day.
Give us one top tip, Arj, as our London Marathon expert. What do you think people who are listening, who literally are thinking, that's me, my God, like, I mean, it's building now, the paranoia.
For Billy, let's just say this is for Billy.
Directly for Billy.
Who's running for Weeks for Heroes. What would you say to Billy?
Realistically, there's never a need to look any further ahead than the kilometre you're on. When it comes down to the day, you have the best crowd in the world on the sidelines of the London Marathon. They will actually get you across that finish line. So no matter what happens, they will support you there. The adrenaline on the day, it will work. But focusing on each kilometre as it comes, rather than worrying about the future and what the things you can't control, that definitely helps ground you on the big day itself.
That's a brilliant. It's
advice.
that kind of like take each step at a time, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, because I in my head, and I don't really want to put a damper on what you said, I just think 26.2 miles, 24.2. I'm just thinking of all the miles that are left.
Exactly.
Whereas you're saying no, just think of it mile by mile.
Correct. Yeah,
and then before you know it, you're at the finish line.
I did a 10k run once. This was before my heart failed and I can't even really walk around anymore much. But I remember the adrenaline just because of like the people around you, the buzz.
Yeah.
And that's what does get you free. I didn't have anyone cheering on the sideline. It wasn't that big. It was at the end. You had your family and stuff waiting. But
that's important.
Oh, yeah. 100%. You're kind of looking for them as well so they can see you cross that line. But along the way there's people and you're encouraging other people even though you're knackered, you're like out of breath, you're like encouraging your fellow runner to try and get them to keep going. So I just love the unity of it.
Who doesn't, hey? Stay with me, guys, because I know actually there's an array of stories that you both wanted to talk about, and I will get to them. But I just felt, seeing as it's only a couple of weeks away, we had to celebrate and talk about London Marathon. It's time for London Zine. A big thanks to both of my guests for staying with me here on BBC Radio London. It's where I'm joined in the studio with two Londoners, discuss the stories that matter to them. So in the studio, I have Kaz Fonset, who's founder of Wigs for Heroes. You can get more details on social media, Wigs for Heroes. And also Arj Thiruchelvam, who is our London Marathon expert. So he'll be back on Monday, by the way, with more top tips as we gear up towards London Marathon. He is head coach at Performance Physique, and you can get more details on performance_physique on social media. So let's get into your stories this afternoon then, shall we? Firstly, Kaz, you wanted to talk about the London Underground station, which is doubling up as an art gallery whilst you wait for the tube.
Yeah, and do you know what? It's been like that for a hot minute, but I didn't really know about it until it came out on like this article a few days ago. I was like, firstly, why haven't I seen it? Because I'm a fine art graduate.
Yeah.
But also, why isn't there more of that?
Okay.
Why isn't there more of that in especially areas like mine? I grew up in Tottenham, and I went to university and I studied art, but I was sort of unaware of the art world completely when I was a kid. And we had Art Attack, right?
Yeah.
So we watched all that.
And listen, let's not belittle that. I learned some proper skills from Art Attack.
100%. But also knowing that you can get a job.
Yes.
Like,
it's a career.
Right. And in communities like mine, that ain't a job. Turkish Cypriot here, that ain't a job. An artist, what? Musician, what? No. They kind of, not belittle, but they diminish these dreams that you might have as a child. I think if we put more of this art gallery stuff rather than so many advertisements that we're constantly bombarded with, it might give some kids some aspirations and inspiration to be a bit more creative. And I don't know about you, but it might also help with crime as well, and getting into like other activities after school and just really pursuing something that might have been a distant dream before.
It's also that kind of idea, isn't it, of accessibility to public art, basically.
Yeah.
This, by the way, just for our listeners, this is Gloucester Road Station, so that's Zone 1, isn't it? And it covers Piccadilly lines, District Line and Circle as well. So it's quite, a big one in terms of where it is located. And within it, there is essentially this like art gallery. It's like a mini art gallery inside of it.
These pieces are huge.
Yeah,
There's like
massive.
these big
Floor to
medallion
ceiling.
things. Yeah.
What's your take on this, Arj?
I think this is really cool. This is my kind of thing. I do not come from an art world. I'm very much sports, science, that kind of thing. My brother and sister, they were the arty ones. And yet this is the stuff which I would be much more interested in seeing every day. Passing it, I quite regularly actually would stop and just check out a little bit of graffiti that had been done. And I like the way that movement's now become councils taking on board these graffiti artists and saying, commission you to do a piece of work.
Yes, public art.
Exactly. So,
rather than a nuisance.
Yeah, exactly. So more of this, please.
Yeah.
It's also just that point that if you're like a commuter in London, right, just a little bit fed up of seeing coffee adverts. Do you know what I mean? Like if we could just say the basics of this, it's quite nice to admire smart.
100%. Like just before I got diagnosed, not to be morbid, but just before I got diagnosed with cancer, I was on the tube and like knackered because I didn't know I had cancer, right? But I was so exhausted, and I just kept seeing like advertisements for why I'm sick and I should just go and and buy iron supplements and stuff like that. And it's channeling the wrong thing sometimes. Sometimes you want to be inspired by something. You don't even have to love art, but sometimes it's nice to look at something pretty other than these horrible walls or even the like rubbish graffiti. I get a lot of that around my area. But actually Tottenham's become really nice where they are commissioning artists to do these amazing murals and I love to see it and I want to see more
of it, please.
Please.
Thoughts on that? 0800 731 2000 kind of in a sense may well actually link your story, Arj, because you wanted to talk about, and this is proper London story as well, £30 million being pledged for youth clubs in each London borough. This of course is what Sir Sadiq Khan has said. So that £30 million of the £50 million allocated in this year's budget, it's going to be around focus on supporting young people to fund this youth lates programme in all 32 boroughs. I mean, you just mentioned, Kaz, reduction of crime within London, and here you are, Arj, talking about youth clubs.
Yeah, I think anyone who's listened to us before chatting away, the aspect of role model and looking after the next generation is first and foremost for me. And I think it was, what was the number? Some crazy number between 81 youth centres closed between 2010 and 2024.
81.
I mean,
wow,
that's a lot.
It's horrifying. And, there's question marks over whether these youth centres are beneficial, whether or not youth centres perhaps actually, put together these groups of individuals to cause trouble. And, there's no necessary categoric data for me to back this up, but I know trouble exists without the youth centres. And I also do know that lots of these youth centres had role models there looking out for potentially vulnerable individuals. And I think having a vulnerable individual guided by someone to pull them out is a much, much better strategy than just saying, well, it's going to be a problem anyway.
Yeah.
So this, I think, is a great use of money. And I know there's opposition as well. We should be spending that money on the police force, etc., etc. But why not give our youth somewhere to go in the evening rather than hanging around? Give them a central location where there is someone monitoring them and supporting them and giving them, fun things to do, like you said about art.
But also a nice looking space, because someone came into our boutique the other day and she wanted to put a poster up about something. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but she needed like a rehearsal space, and one of my volunteers recommended Chestnuts Park like centre, and I'm like, is that still even running? Like, what does it look like now? She said it's pretty run down, and I'm like, I remember going to taekwondo lessons when I was like 10, and it was so run down. I just felt like, why do we have to, in certain areas, be subjected to these rundown buildings and stuff like that? And I said that to the girl, and she said, well, I quite like the edginess of it. She's not from the local area. She's kind of just moved in. And I'm like, well, I don't, because as a kid, like, it really tells you that you're poor because you're not exposed to nice buildings, nice spaces. And why do we have to wait until we start traveling or moving to different parts of London or being taken out for the day out of your area to see these nice spaces? I feel like it should start from when you're younger. You should be able to experience these nice spaces, feel like people are spending some sort of time and money and heart on you. Otherwise it will kind of, you get forgotten about, and you get resentment, and people start doing crazy things.
Did either of you go to a youth club?
I did. Yeah. Tiverton Youth Club. It was like a play centre right next to Tiverton School, and I remember my jam sandwiches there, and when my parents were working late, we went there, and we were part of the community. But there was this lady, I can't remember her name for the life of me, but she used to shout at some of the kids like she was our auntie, and she used to put us all in our, well, not me, but people in their places, and that she had a lot of respect from the local youth. It was amazing.
It's a vital, I think, for me, growing up in the late 90s, early noughties in West London, everyone went to a youth club.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't think I'd be working on radio if it wasn't for my local youth club of ours youth centre in Hounslow, which sadly closed down like many of them have in recent years, because I was not a confident 16-year-old. My father had just died. I was doing my A-levels and I just had academics on my mind, and that was it. Going to a youth club, we had this drama production. It opened my eyes to a whole different world and built my confidence, which essentially kind of has led me to where I am now, as a broadcaster. But I don't think I would have got that, because I certainly didn't get that in school. And I think that's the point, isn't it? Youth clubs can actually bridge that gap between academia, school. Maybe you're a kid who just kind of feels like a social misfit. Perhaps, the mates that you once had aren't really your mates anymore. Well, where do you go aside from that?
I feel like there's so much pressure on schools to provide all of this, but they just can't, right?
Yeah.
It's a very valid point.
Yeah.
So this is some good news, is what you're saying, Arj. The return of the youth club in London. Let's go to the next story then, shall we? And this one is also, I think, a positive one, actually. You wanted to talk, Kaz, about the comeback of the car boot.
Yeah.
Who doesn't have a good car boot sale, hey?
I mean, as a fashionista and a recent Sustainable Business of the Year winner,
congratulations,
hero, Wood. I'm all for this. And I was talking to my husband the other day, and I said, what happened to the little, primary schools that on a Sunday you can just have a little mooch,
exactly, have
a little burger, a cup of tea, talk to people? What happened to that? And now it's kind of being reignited in Tottenham, is it West, I don't want to get this wrong, West Green Primary School, but they're doing
it is West Green Primary School,
a no car boot sale.
Okay, so
it's more about a obviously selling stuff, but also having arts and crafts and pastries and things like that, just bringing people together. It doesn't cost much as well. It's £1 to get in. And again, another conversation with my cousin, what happened to these places where you can go and spend your pocket money, like as a
Exactly.
child, to
that's
buy
so
some
true.
things for cheap?
Do you remember the mini donuts you'd be able to get? I used to go with my mum.
Do I
I'd be like,
remember?
yeah, I'd be like, I want these
6
mini
for like
donuts.
£1, like someone's making them fresh. It's like it was huge in the 90s.
Yeah.
And now we're
Totally.
living in such a digital era. I get it, like all these eBays and Vintins or whatever, but it's sometimes you just want to get out
Yeah.
and do something on the weekend and meet people, and you just never know what you're going to find. And
Also, you might have a lot of, because I've recently over these holidays got my little one to kind of do a proper clear out of her toys. I wanted to hold on to everything. You can't.
yeah,
And I gave it to this wonderful charity that's local to our community. But what I would have loved to have done is done it as a car boot sale and like been able to
Teaching.
see,
Yeah.
But
you know,
also-
who's buying it and take. I would have loved that.
But also teaching them about money
Exactly.
and like getting your customer service experience. You know,
Yeah.
because in any job that you do, you're going to have to deal with people, right?
Totally.
So it builds your confidence. And I remember my mum like having clear outs, and she's like, "Oh no,
Yeah, go
20
on."
peeps."
Yeah.
selling like old crockery and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
But it like I'm a chatterbox now because of all these things that my parents exposed me to.
Best thing you bought in a car boot sale then?
Oh, I found some amazing things.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. A Gucci bag, I think, for £60.
Stop it.
Vintage 70s vintage Gucci bag at Pimlico Car Boot. I love that place. Yeah, for 70 quid.
It's nothing.
Yeah.
My
yeah,
gosh.
authentic.
That's amazing.
What about you, Arj?
I was struggling to think what I bought. I remember selling a bike. I sold a bike at a car boot before. And I remember the guy right at the start. You know when you're setting up, there's those individuals
Oh
who
my
go and
God.
scan. Guy came up to me right at the start. And
Yeah.
he was like, "I'll give you this right now." And I was like, "No, not a chance. Not a chance."
He was
I
like,
held
come
my
on,
nerve.
let me take it.
Exactly.
It's not me, but I always remember my husband Sonny talking about this. He has a real love for BMX bikes.
Okay.
And one of his first BMX bikes that he bought was from a car boot sale.
Yeah.
And he held on for it as long as he possibly could. And it's those things, as you say, that you kind of find in a car boot sale.
Yeah.
Right?
And sometimes you just don't want to let go of
Yeah,
what
never.
you find. It's
That's
like treasure.
true. It is a treasure. It's a treasure find. Right, I'll continue having a chat with both Kaz and Arj straight after Miley Cyrus. But if you want to talk car boot sales, maybe you run one, get in touch. 0800 731 2000.
Really interesting because we've
It's
all
a
been
con. I'm sorry, it's not right.
I have seriously
London's
so-
Eye. London's Eye.
Final part of London's Eye on BBC Radio London, and a big thanks to both of my guests for staying with me this afternoon. Two fantastic Londoners discussing stories that matter to them. I've got Kaz Fonset, founder of Wigs for Heroes. You can get more details on Wigs for Heroes on social media, and also Arj Thiruchelvam, who is our London Marathon expert in the afternoons. He's head coach at Performance Physique. More details on performance_physique. So, Artemis II, what personal item would you take? Tell me more about this then.
Yes, so if you haven't heard already, this is especially for you, Cass. Artemis 2. This is the furthest humans have ever travelled from Earth. They're going out and they're inspecting the moon. And I don't know if you saw any of the clips where, there was a segment of footage where they took off and it's been broadcast from a plane. You can see the speed. I think it's 1,200 miles per hour it travels at.
Wow.
Then there's a detachment, it's just mind-blowing because we haven't seen this stuff in our generation occur. Because it's 1970, I think, the last time we did anything like this. The detachment of the shuttle and then the trip around, the slingshot around the moon. It was just really emotional for me to watch, to be quite honest. Growing up as a child, I wanted to be an astronaut. I went and met Patrick Moore. I
Really?
met a couple of cosmonauts. I was like, I'm going to be a spaceman one day.
Wonderful.
It didn't happen.
So we still can love
Too
space,
late.
can't we?
Exactly. And yeah, the individual journeys of these 4 astronauts is pretty phenomenal and inspiring.
Yeah.
It goes back to the elements of the Apollo missions where the Hidden Figures film was based on these 4 black women who did the maths calculations.
That was such a great film.
Exactly. There you go. Their story. And there's a similar element this time round. And there's 2 predominant women who have basically pioneered this mission. And then the crew themselves, and they did a little release, a little piece on the personal items that they get to take up.
Yes.
And I always find this quite interesting. And I think it always shows me up as, maybe I'm not such a good person because their items were fascinating. So the commander was Reed Wiseman. and he said he'd take down just because they have such a weight limitation as well. He'd take a notepad just to make some personal notes of the journey. Nice.
Good choice.
Christina Koch, she's the mission specialist. She took messages from people close to her, which makes a lot of sense because she said when we're so far away, I need something to make me feel at home. Jeremy Hansen, he took 4 moon-shaped pendants to represent his wife and children with their birthstones. I thought beautiful.
Lovely.
And then Victor Glover, who is the pilot, took his Bible, his wedding rings, his family heirlooms, and a collection of quotes. To be quite honest, I was thinking, Victor, that's an awful lot of stuff compared to everyone else. I wonder if Mission Control... Yeah, exactly. Did they know about this extra weight? But I thought that was really interesting to see what people chose to take with them. Because my head immediately went completely somewhere else when I thought about what would I...
What did you think?
I mean, other brands exist, but I'd just take Cadbury's Dairy Milk with me.
Chocolate. Yeah. Do you know what? I literally would take like food, like cheese. I'd have to take some cheese with me.
I'd have to take some sort of food as well.
Do you know what I mean?
But I don't think you can.
Well, did you see the viral clip of what happened?
I've been living under a rock.
Oh, yeah.
So share it for us.
There's a very famous nut spread, which, whilst they're doing some important communications, just floating across the camera is this nut spread. Have you seen this?
Yeah. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh,
and they basically, a load of people have been saying, I mean, if this brand don't capitalise on this moment and create the advert, they're missing a trick.
They are. What would you take then?
It would be
chocolate.
It would be
chocolate. Okay. What about yourself, Kaz?
Probably pictures. Of
I was thinking
family.
I was thinking pictures
because it's like if you can't take a phone, to look at, you have to take some physical pictures with you.
Also, I think as an old school person, who is it that took the notebook, did you say?
That's their commander.
Right. Because I just think how wonderful to be able to say you wrote in space.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But with everything digital around you, putting pen to paper. Yeah, you and I both.
Got
a notepad. Yeah, and notebook and pen. And it's that thing of when you land, and when they come back to the Earth, planet Earth, that notepad can be passed down the generations as something handwritten in space.
Do you know actually what I'd take?
Cool.
I'd take the Instax thing camera as well for like the actual
Polaroid cameras.
Yeah, Polaroid. That's
that might be that might be heavy weighted.
But you can get like the little ones now, the tiny ones. They're heat like thermal pictures, even if they're like black and white.
So if you want to tell us what you take into space and why, please do 81333. Start the message with London. Now, there's an important law that's been made legal. You wanted to reference and talk about this. Tell us more, please. Kaz.
So I saw an article on online come up about street harassment is now illegal in the UK, and the law and what it actually means for us. And of course, growing up in London, I couldn't be more ecstatic to be, reading about this, that public sexual harassment is now a criminal offence. So behaviours like catcalling, following someone, making sexual comments or blocking someone's path in public can now be prosecuted. And if
blocking someone's path,
like not letting them leave like a space, or just overstepping boundaries, like knowing that that's not okay now, and actually it's illegal. So
it's called, just for our listeners, the Protection from Sex-Based Harassment in Public Act. And it's now, as you've just said, come into force. Yes, when we talk about sexual comments, kind of, catcalling, as you've mentioned.
We're not talking about, your cheer up loves.
Yeah,
right? Because you're still going to get that. But as a teenager growing up, it was awful for me. I'd have to take a bus just to avoid certain roads, even if it was one stop away.
Really?
Just to avoid certain areas because of the amount of like old dirty men basically just making horrible comments to me. And I feel like it's not about going after men. It's about, for me, as someone who's got a 1-year-old son, is teaching the next generation that it's not okay, that things aren't a joke. It might seem like a joke amongst people, but if there's real consequences, people can educate, like boys especially, from a young age, that actually if someone feels uncomfortable, you need to not do whatever it is you're doing, say whatever it is you're saying. I think people get too comfortable with making people uncomfortable these days.
But isn't it the bystanders when no one says anything?
Oh my God,
when you
that is
see
the
it happening,
absolute worst.
you know, I think we've all been there when you've seen something happening and then you think, well, hold on, why has no one said anything?
Yeah.
If that person is, you know, acting in the most heinous way, or just being cruel or insensitive, but there are other Londoners there, kind of no one necessarily steps in.
Yeah.
Or even just says, are you okay?
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like as a society we need to start learning about what is okay and what is not okay. And like I said,
Should we have classes in school?
but-
What are we saying?
I mean, most education starts from home, and if as parents you're bringing children into the world and you're not teaching them about how to treat other people with respect, because this comes down to one thing: respect. And if you can't respect somebody, and if they say no, or if they say leave me alone, then you've got something wrong with you.
Let me bring you into this, Arj. What's your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I can't believe that it hasn't been illegal all this time. I think that's really weird when you just mentioned all those different things.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, well, obviously that's wrong.
Yeah.
I do appreciate education starts at home. 100% do.
It's obviously not working though. Sorry. I was
Yeah.
just going to say what
Yeah.
some people are thinking here. It's obviously not working for some people.
Also because of their learned behaviour, and they think it's okay.
Yeah.
So certain parents thinking it's normal.
Yeah.
Like where schools, it will be the school's responsibility, I'm guessing, especially in some cases.
There's so much, I think, which comes from that outside pastoral influence, which is where I feel this youth club could really succeed. I know from being a coach,
Okay.
my pastoral element
Yeah.
is equal to the physical stuff that we do.
Right.
So we talk about how you should be behaving, how you should be managing, how you should be looking after not just women, but after each other realistically. And you know, my son and I at bedtime, since he couldn't speak really, I've had the conversations of our role in this house and for mummy and for people at nursery and all that, what we need to be doing. So I think it's a triangulated approach is what we need.
Listen, it's food for thought, but it's important we talk about it, isn't it?
Oh,
That's kind of the reference point. Just finally, we're going to squeeze in the last story, which is you wanted to talk about The Pitt from HBO Max arriving in the UK. What did you want to say, Arj?
Yeah, so Noah Weil is back on UK British screens playing a doctor yet again.
Yay!
30 years later.
He doesn't look 30 years older, does he? So this is the gentleman that was in ER, so many seasons of ER. HBO Max launched in the UK. It's yet another streaming service that we're being offered with very little actually to watch on it. But there is something very enticing about The Pitt. I've seen all these YouTube clips about this show.
Gone viral.
It looks amazing.
Viral.
And what I think is really unique about this is that it's a 15-episode series formed of 15 hours
Which
on
I'll
one single shift.
binge
But you'll do it.
in,
You'll
like,
do the shift
2
with
days.
him.
I mean, Catherine Lanasa just won an Emmy for her performance as Nurse Dana in The Pitt.
Wow.
And she's been doing like the rounds. She was actually here in London a couple of weeks ago talking about her cancer journey and then not getting work for a long time and then this role, coming to her and just at the right time. So it's resonating with a lot of people.
Yeah, I think it just looks like really good TV programming, something new to watch. There have been...
Well, what's wrong with Casualty? Or was
I'm watching ER at the moment, and I miss John Carter.
Yeah.
I want to see Carter again for like the ER enthusiasts who are rewatching as well. We're like, bring Carter back, and now he's on another show. I'm 100% going to be watching it.
Are you going to be watching it, Arj?
Yeah, I just need to work out how
Yes, another streaming service. Listen, it's been such a pleasure having you both on the show today. Kaz Fonset, founder of Wigs for Heroes, Arj Thiruchelvam, head coach at Performance Physique. Thank you for coming in today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, and I look forward to you both being back very, very soon. We'll continue that conversation in the next hour of the show. Kind of what would you take into space and why? 0800 731 2000. Big thanks to Kaz and to Arj for London's Eye.
Thank you very much for listening to the Performance Physique podcast. Don't forget you can find us on Instagram. It's at performance_physique. You can find us on Facebook, Performance Physique, or if you just head to performancephysique.co.uk and we'll do our very best to help you It will mean the world to me, though, if you can share this podcast with one friend this week. Right, for now, take care.